how's everyone's day going?
It's going great.
Yeah.
That
You
does
guys-
feel good.
Nice.
It doesn't feel good.
Are you?
But I'm here.
Is your voice still all messed up, or did you
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
recover a bit?
It's so it was fine. I was originally sick and it was like fine, but I had a sore throat and I thought I'm gonna do a watch party, and then it absolutely destroyed it. But you know, right in time for Twitch Rivals and then her Galaxy tournament, it's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what's up.
Like, that's always what happens to me.
Yeah.
I'll be IG on my team and I'm just, my voice is gone. Good night.
I had to scrim like this and I'm like, yep,
No, that's me after casting. Like, I'll be fine one day and the next, my mom's will come. It's like, are you okay, sweetie? No, not really. I sound like a 90-year-old smoker. What's wrong with your voice? Apex.
I was told I sounded like a broken squeaky toy from Toy Story.
Oh, squeak.
So yeah,
I really need. I don't know if I know what that sounds like.
you have to look it up.
I'd have to look it up. I've watched
we
all the Toy
input-
Stories, but I can't like.
Can we input things like post-production, like
Yeah.
the squeaky sound effect? Okay. We
I
need
think
to do that.
we'll have the head podcast editor kind of editing this podcast.
Just
so.
that one
Thank you,
squeaky
editor.
toy
Pretty
in Madagascar, the Christmas special getting torn apart by that old lady's people. It's such a good Christmas special. It's so good.
Mhm.
So wait, did you sound like Mort? King Julian.
King Julian.
Sorry, but every time I think of Mort, I immediately snap to foot fetish, and it is the most terrifying thing possible. I'm not wrong. That little
No.
thing,
Yeah.
horrifying.
Okay.
Mort's a
Anyways.
menace.
Alrighty. So once again, thank you guys so much for joining us on our very special episode of the Aftermath podcast today, the Aftermath Pride Special. Woo woo. Once again, for all the listeners, I am your host, Trunks, also known as Aaron. I'm the director here at Aftermath Esports, and today I am joined by 4 very lovely guests. And I'll let them introduce themselves. Why don't we start with Light here, with a familiar
Woo.
face.
Okay. Hi. I'm LightLyrs. I'm a competitive Apex player for Aftermath. And I'm also pansexual. And I'm very excited to be here and talk about it and talk about pride and how much that means to me and everyone else in this call. So yeah.
Cool. I don't know if you guys have a list in order, but why don't we start with Ash?
Oh god. Alright, fine. Hi, I'm Ashurvok, or just Ash for short. I'm Transmask. Nice to meet y'all. I'm a caster. I've been featured over on ALGS, Celeste Cup, really fun, Apex Rising, Esports U, and a couple other programs. And honestly, glad to be here.
Renee?
Hey guys, I'm Renee. I'm a competitive Apex player for Team Lust. I am pansexual and also demisexual, and I'm super excited to be here as well.
Let's go!
Last but not
Thirst
least,
for
the
lust.
lovely Hambino.
Yeah.
I'm Hambino. I'm a pro player in Apex as well. I'm pansexual, and I like playing Apex. It's kind of
Me
my
too.
thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. You know, I didn't talk to Michael about this ahead of time, but I realized he gathered 4 pansexuals
Oh shit.
For
I
for the
didn't realize that
podcast.
either.
Hey guys.
Hi guys.
Because I'm recently like newly out, but I also am pansexual.
Oh my god, it's a cult. Let's go.
I should know
Let's
it's
go
not me,
again.
though. I'm trans and bi. I feel so alone here.
It's okay. It's okay.
No. You gotta have that representation, you know. Like, that's what it's all about.
Very true.
But yeah, once again, thank you so much for all the guests for joining us today. The reason we kind of gathered here to do this is to kind of talk about pride and the LGBTQ community in gaming, and kind of touching on everyone's experience, and hopefully be able to shed a little bit of light and broaden the horizons of everyone listening, and kind of just like provide a bit of education and background on why we do the things that we love, and how much like having a community and supportive group affects that. With esports, have you guys like found that your communities, like so far, like your teams have been pretty good, treating you well, your organizations, people that you work with?
Sorry, I was dying. What was the question?
Like
I would say so. Sorry, I didn't know if there was like an order.
no.
I
can
would
speak.
say so though. I'd say most organizations, especially the smaller ones. I feel like the smaller the organization, usually they're pretty better about it. I feel like they're more open to learn because they're still still starting off.
Renee, Ash, last, Light.
Yeah, lost.
I'd say mine is treating me pretty good. So far so good. I know with a couple people it took them a minute to get my pronouns right, but hey, that absolutely happens. It's no harm, no foul, and yeah, it's going pretty well.
Pretty good over here for me too. I have wonderful teammates and I have wonderful people around me. I haven't had like too much interactions with orgs, so I couldn't speak on that experience. But normally, the people around me, I surround myself with people intentionally who are nice, and accepting and open-minded. So.
Light, yourself.
Well, I'm a part of Aftermath, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely that was one thing I really wanted when joining org, is that they would be supportive of the community and what I do, and I'm very thankful that you guys have done that for me. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we're super glad that we can be a part of that, and I think a big thing for us too, I am one of the head in charge of how we portray ourselves online, and from someone that growing up in a minority household, I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but sometimes that shit can get pretty toxic, especially for expectations. And my mom has always been if you are nothing but straight or with a girl, then you can't be a part of this family, and blah 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 blah. And only recently, within the last few years, since doing the things that I've done, she has been a lot more open to the idea of it, which is why I just recently came out. So my entire life I've been presented as a cisgender straight male. So I think her being exposed to not only the LGBT culture in terms of pride and seeing the support that other people get through in their communities has really opened her eyes to it. So I think with this podcast, I think it's really, and with all organizations within esports, it's really important that they have an open support system for not only their players, their communities, their casters, staff, and that way more people, it'll become just a normal thing where even really strict minorities will be more accepting of who we are as people. Yeah. And then your guys' journeys in kind of finding yourself in your identity. I'm sure we all have our own stories, but is there anything you guys would like to share in terms of your experiences and stuff that you found to be really encouraging to be able to express yourselves? And there's no order. Whoever would like to speak can just speak up.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So is there anything that you guys would like to share about yourselves and that you found have helped you find yourselves, I guess, if that makes sense? I know for myself, the reason why I felt really comfortable in finally kind of accepting who I am is because I started participating. I don't know if you guys know the ballroom culture, Vogue and drag and all that. I started going out and going to these events and being more part of that community, and that made me really feel more comfortable in my skin, because I surrounded myself with people that were like me, and I was you know what, I'm not straight, I am pansexual, I like both, it doesn't matter who you are,
Yeah.
So for yourselves, is there anything like that?
I was about to say something similar to what you just said, but I definitely think it depends on who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who either just don't agree with it or aren't accepting of the lifestyle, it might make you want to suppress those feelings or not even want to talk about those feelings ever. I think it's really important to have people in your life that are accepting of it to make you feel more comfortable and support you with it.
Yeah, for me, growing up, I grew up in a pretty religious area. I live in Austin, Texas, but I live a little bit outside. Basically, rich suburb area with a bunch of people who are not nearly as accepting as I would hope. But so I kind of grew up and I was like pretty confused for my entire existence of like elementary school, middle school, high school. I wasn't like too clear on anything because I definitely like suppressed my feelings for like a very long time. However, when I was like 16-ish, gaming was a thing, obviously, for me. And I had like one of my best friends who, she was bisexual, and you know, so I kind of started like learning like, okay, this is pretty normal, because like for me in school and stuff, like I was always like, I had a feeling like I was definitely like not completely straight, but like I didn't really know. I don't know. I definitely like suppressed it because of the way people were around me. It was, you know, basically I was bullied in school because people thought I was gay, and people like just looked down on it. So I was basically just bullied, but it's okay. It's okay. But through gaming, I met some really good friends, and I was like, okay, so basically outside of where I live, this is much more normal and accepted. And I'm like, okay, that's really cool. And then also, I went to university, and I have a degree in social work. So I learned a lot through my social work classes about pride and just being, you know, being able to express yourself and about other different communities and whatnot. So, and also like with getting that degree in social work, the majority of that degree is having conversations with people and discussing topics. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got to learn a lot about people's experiences, and not just about, you know, the LGBTQ community, but like just a whole bunch of like topics. And I think that really opened my eyes, was being able to see some perspective from outside of where I grew up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, Ash, anything to add?
Yeah, I think for me, gosh, I can go all the way back to, and this is like a long time ago, this is 2009, right? I think I was on a rebellious streak, and my dad, for some reason out of nowhere, he noticed, hey, you're starting to dress like a little more boyish, you keep it up. And this is like the weirdest but wildest threat possible, right? He goes, I'm gonna call your teacher so she can make you start using the boys' bathroom. And I'm sitting here like, huh? Because I was like so confused, but at the same time I didn't argue it. I was like, okay. And he looks at me weird, like, what? And I think after that, like as years like started going down the line, it started becoming a hell of a lot more obvious. And then one day I think everything snapped for me, especially when I was in an argument with my dad. Yet again, he was not supportive of anything that I was really up to. And I just pretty much went off saying, hey, I'd feel a lot more better if I were your son. And he whips around and goes, what? Like, we just look at each other, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna drop it. I pretty much had to leave the house for a day or two, just clear my mind. And pretty much going back and forth about me being trans for almost ages, right? This was since I was a little kid, and now that I'm an adult. And especially after, was I started casting, like, using she, her pronouns, like, really hit me like a load of bricks, right? I didn't like it, I was uncomfortable with it, like, female presenting, like, anything, I was cringing pretty much all the time, to a point so that I almost had to check myself in an inpatient. It was bad. And now I'm sitting here now, and I'm doing a hell of a lot better, like, mentally wise, I'm doing great. And now that I'm about to go off to college, and I'm pretty much, like, I'm transmasc, right? I use he, they pronouns. Like, I can finally express myself in a way that I feel comfortable with. And especially in the esports space, which I know some people, like, even with my identity, take issue with it, I could seriously care less, right? I'm here to work and meet people and network, and that, hey, that's about it, enjoy my craft. So, yeah, wild story with a lot of loops and pretty much a roller coaster. But, hey, here now. So you know what? Yeah, win's a win. Is what it is.
Nice, that's what's up.
For me, I don't know, it's kind of complicated, because I grew up in, like, redneck, you know, Pennsylvania, in the middle of God knows nowhere. And I think where I grew up, people around me and my parents, they weren't like accepting, but they weren't like not accepting. Do you know what I mean? Like, they kind of just treaded this line where it was like awkward to bring it up and like talk about sexuality and stuff like that. But once I got into like the internet and gaming and meeting people, that's when I really started like understanding myself. And also I started going to therapy, which was really helpful, and they really helped me like accept myself and love myself. But I definitely do have to give it to like all my friends, like especially right now, like they are definitely the ones who help me out the most and like help me accept myself, you know? So shout out to you. Shout out to Renee. Love you.
Ooh,
Yes.
shout out Renee. Are we all participating in therapy here?
Yes.
Are we all advocates for the mental health care?
Yes.
I don't
Huge
do
fan.
therapy, but I'm a big fan of, big supporter of
Love
it.
my therapist.
I also love my therapist. You know, if we had sponsors, now would be a good time to, if a mental health sponsor wants to ever sponsor us, you know, to do this stuff kind of all the time.
Sponsor, please.
Sponsor.
Wait, what am I saying? I'm not even part of Aftermath here. Hold on.
Oh, shut up. Thanks for the support.
Of course.
You know, on like that note too, like with Pride and everything, because I know Pride Month it went from like a Pride Day to like Pride Week to Pride Month. Has anyone done anything like really really fun this month? Any sweet activities did you guys get up to?
I played Apex.
Yep.
No, I don't know if it's just where I live, because I don't live anywhere popular, but I literally don't even know the nearest like Pride parade that happens. But you know, I celebrate at home.
That's what's up with the community that helped you out. You know, the Apex
Yeah.
community, esports community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Vancouver, and in Vancouver there's like a huge Pride scene here, and they like pull out all the stops every week. There's something. There's like a parade one week, and then another week there's like a Pride ball, and it just goes crazy for a month.
I mean, what did I do this month? For Pride, I'd say the wildest event I did was this thing in my neighborhood, my friend group, called Pride Skateboarding. And the thing was, you had to wear like anything like Pride or is it like festive, right? And my dumbass decided to come out in my Vans, socks, boxers, and nothing but a chest binder. And people are like, "You're gonna get hurt and everything." And I'm like, "Listen, I have my rainbow shorts on right now. I came here to skate and have fun and celebrate this, right?" And then, not even 3 seconds in, I scraped my knees, really bad. Not fun. And yeah, overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. So you know what? I'm not complaining.
That sounds so fun. I don't know how to skateboard, but that sounds fun.
Next year you got to get the rainbow knee pads.
Sure. See, I wouldn't recommend it because my wrist is the way it is from skateboarding. That's a bone. It popped out. Yeah. You see it. The big difference. Like I do this, and it's
What the
very
heck is that?
visible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Dislocated it, and it never went back to normal.
Would you, Hambino, Renee? Anything fun?
There was a Pride tournament. I'm from New York. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I moved to New York. There was
You're
a Pride
from PA?
tournament. Yeah, I'm from PA. I'm from like around Philly.
Same.
Yeah, I was pretty close to that area. I didn't really do anything in real life. I did a few charity tournaments for Apex, and there's a few more coming up next week. But besides that, I mean, just being gay, the usual.
The norm.
The normal.
Just like me for real.
Yeah, for me and Austin's like super like, you know, LGBTQ friendly for the most part. However, I'm a homebody and I play Apex and I play more Apex and I play more Apex.
Oh
so
my god, we're all the same person.
haven't really gone, but I did go to a Pride parade like a few years ago when I was still in college, and it was fun. It was nice, but I'm a homebody now, so.
Nice. Well, from what I can hear, it seems like everyone is really into Apex.
Yeah, I
Did
think
Apex
so.
do anything like besides from the tournaments? Was there any like special in-game events that happened? I know sometimes they give like badges and stuff, but did they do anything this year?
Not
I don't think they did this year. Yeah, I don't think they really did anything.
I mean, if you can consider Bloodhound and Fuse getting together an in-game event, I mean, hey, that counts.
close
That
enough.
is
Close
true,
enough.
yeah.
Close enough. Fuse Hound
Do you-
supremacy.
True.
I love the representation that they have in like a lot of the gaming characters, like not even Apex, but like for Valorant and like all of those big stream games. Do you guys like find that is I don't want to say helpful is a word, but I guess inspiring, or like having that representation is important?
Yeah, I would say it's very important. I feel like it's very important specifically for like just the younger audience, just so like, you know, if they feel like they might be queer, they have that kind of representation. I have like younger relatives that are queer, and it's nice to like, you know, hear their stories, and like when they see stuff like that in games, media, anything like that, it's just nice to make them, you know, feel accepted, and it's not weird or normal, like abnormal to have those feelings.
And like for like being like professional gamers and stuff, like with the way the Apex tournaments are run and like everything, do you guys like find that it's like all like pretty okay, or is there like more that the organizers could do?
In the ones that I've been a part of, I think they've been pretty well. Specifically Twitch Rivals, I've noticed that they have to meet like a quota usually for viewer count, but once they reach that quota, I've noticed they usually do invite a lot of, like, I do see a good amount of queers in there. You know, instead of just the average all pro player normal that they do for Twitch Rivals. Especially this one, I thought this one was very diverse. This Twitch Rivals is probably like the most diverse one I've ever seen. I thought they did a really good job.
Nice. Yeah. Anything else anyone has seen?
Let's see, Light. The women's scene is a hot topic for this one.
Let's hear it. Let's go in. Let's go into detail. Let's talk about it.
Oh boy.
This
Oh
is the
boy.
podcast for it, you know? We got time.
So,
Let's talk about it.
oh boy. Okay, Light probably has way more to say about this than I do, but I've thought about it plenty, but there's a lot that I haven't thought about. Does it come down to, is it the players, or is it the organizations, or is it both? Because in women's comp, trans people and also non-binary people are being questioned and looked at like with a microscope, and so here is my take on it. Is, you know, as you know, women, we've kind of already had to deal with like a lot of, you know, somewhat of oppression in certain areas, and we are taking everyone, like, we are not going to question anyone in their identity, and like anyone should be welcome, because we know what it's like to face some kind of oppression, and we don't want other people to experience that. But that's my take. However, it might be different for other competitors or orgs, and it is a hot topic. Light, take it away.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so okay. Where do I start? The women's scene has always been very supportive of everyone, and we've always taken in just like, you know, everyone, because it's a safe place, and that's always what we've made it to be. But I think it's definitely like, as of lately with the high prize pool things, like trans people and non-binary people have been getting a lot of hate and just like, I don't even know what to call it, questioning, I guess. And I think it's very, especially like during this month and just like in general, it's very, I think, like disgusting to have to even try and question a person, because I've always been in the mindset, you're not in another person's head. You don't know what's going on. You don't know anything. So trying to tell people who they are or like how they are is very just like disrespectful. And I definitely think that's something then the org side could help kind of like crack down on, because I think a lot of people who do start these like what would you call them? Not accusations.
Witch hunts.
Yeah, you can call them those. They usually go just like not punished,
Yeah.
and it just gets swept under the rug. But then like that follows whoever like they accuse, that follows them in their reputation forever, you know, because everyone's gonna remember it. And yeah, I definitely think that's like an issue that a lot of the community is having right now. And I just hope that it can stop. And
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people too, because we also had this issue within like the Valorant game changer scene, and I had like a huge discussion with a bunch of like the admin in Aftermath, which is, you know, partly why we take a lot of the stances that we do nowadays. But with these game changer teams and like the women's tournament, like at the end of the day, it's about representation, right? It doesn't matter what the prize pool is. It doesn't matter what people like think of it, but it's about representation, giving a space for those non-marginalized groups to present themselves to the wider audience. So sure, you know, why does it matter what someone identifies as why does it matter what they identify as when they're just there to represent and, you know, show off who they are? If they're non-binary, if they're trans, it doesn't matter, because they're representing, you know, that section of the non-marginalized group. And I think a lot of people forget that because there's money involved and people are like, oh no, I want to win and it's not fair that, you know, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, that's not the point of the tournament. The point of the tournament is to give these people a space that they can play and participate and feel safe and feel represented.
Yeah.
Right? Like gaming has always been super predominantly male dominated, and it probably will for quite a, you know, amount of time. But now with like all these tournaments and stuff happening, it's kind of just shifting the balance to somewhere where there's a little bit more access for people to get involved, you know?
yeah.
Thoughts?
Light and I are fueled.
Honestly, I like to step in on that one. Like, from a caster standpoint, I know nowadays you have like a lot of younger, more diverse talent like being brought in, especially. But I know, gosh, I hate saying this, right? But I feel as if I got to get this off my chest, right? ALGS side, and gosh, I have a feeling that PGL is probably gonna watch this and be like, yeah, we're not bringing you back. Anyways, yeah, ALGS wise, I know a lot of people, especially casters like myself, casters of color and black casters, and LGBT even, in the grassroots Apex community are, I don't want to say getting tired of seeing the same faces over again, but I mean, hey, it happens, and I feel there should be like a new level of diversity brought to, like, you know, T1 scene overall, especially over in EA and PGL side when it comes to those broadcasts. But me personally probably would not touch that scene with a 10-foot pole after some of the harassment I've seen with my own eyes. It gets really rough, especially with people whittling it down to, oh yeah, like this and that, like not even critiquing your casting, just pretty much going after you either for your background, identity, or even in my case, I mean, I'll admit, I was not the best back then, but I pretty much got doxxed to the end of the earth when I was casting for that. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But it's a really touchy subject, honestly.
No, for sure. And that's like super unfortunate. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I built a thicker skin since then. Like, somebody's like, oh yeah, you're Ashurvok, you're bad. I'm like, okay, thank you. I don't know, I appreciate it, but yeah.
Well, I think everyone starts somewhere.
I mean,
And when I can tell, I honestly, like, we're not even casting right now, and I really enjoyed listening to you talk. So
hey, appreciate it. Like, one thing, at one point I was close to giving up casting, and then Zephyr turned me on to Isaki's Celeste Cup. I meet people like Renee and Light here, and I'm like, you know what? I just might stick around for a little longer. Especially Light Twitter fingers LightLyrs here, but yeah.
Dude, I had someone, who was it? Funny was talking to someone, and he brought up my name, and the other person was like, I don't know how that is. And he said, Twitter fingers.
Oh.
And they were like, oh, I know. I was like,
I'm dead.
The other night, actually, I'm in my Apex Discord for UC Santa Cruz esports, right, or Slug Gaming, and I was talking to someone, and I mentioned Jake Lucky, and immediately my friend's like, who, actual Jake Lucky, or that one girl on Apex Twitter? I go, LightLyrs? And they're like, yeah, that's the one! Whoa.
I can't escape it.
No.
Like, I think you gotta ride it. You gotta
Yeah.
get more on the keyboard.
Can't
I
escape
do,
the Jake
yeah.
Lucky accusations. That's crazy.
Can.
Could be me.
Bro, we're gonna run a duo tournament soon.
Oh no. 2 Jake Luckies?
Yeah. For real.
Twitter fingers. This is the first time I'm hearing about that. That's actually really funny.
You don't know about the Twitter fingers?
No, dude. I've been like super disconnected for quite a while, and I'm just kind of like getting back into the esports side of things because, if you don't know, I help organize. So breakdancing just got added into the Olympics, so I'm helping organize the basically Team Canada for the Olympics.
No way.
Yeah.
Yo!
That is so interesting.
So I've been busy the last like 7 months with getting that ready. But after this weekend, I'm basically home free, so I'm trying to get back into like the groove of with Aftermath and trying to get busy again. Yeah, what's this Twitter finger stuff? I need to get this before we move on.
Because all the Apex drama that gets reported on is reported by Light. That's why.
She is so good at crafting these tweets that are just going to blow up. So basically, if I ever need to tweet something, or if my teammate Scar ever needs to tweet something, we are going to Light. We're like, hey, how can we like, what's a good tweet for us, huh? And she'll craft us up something real quick. And she just keeps tabs on absolutely everything, and it's hilarious.
I got you, bro. Don't you even worry about it.
Are you guys involved in Valorant at all? Like, do you know anything about the scene?
Casting wise,
No.
sure. Yeah, it's a little bit collegiate.
Whenever all the game changer stuff was going on, there's this one person on Twitter who always makes video montages of all the Twitter drama, and it's so funny. And I think this person has been banned from almost every tournament because of their tweets. It's really bad, but it's so good.
I think I've seen a few of those. I didn't know what you're talking about.
If I could find them, I will have to send them over to Light, and then you guys could watch them because they're really good. But like it's time to bump up that production quality. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know
I
wild
mean-
reason you get banned from VCT Game Changers events like that? Absolutely not. Bro.
There, I think as much as there's still a lot, going on with gaming and the the community, VCT has been doing a pretty good job on trying to crack down on toxicity.
Ooh, yeah. I agree.
So like props to them for that, but there's still a lot that I think every organization can work on. I remember like when we had a Game Changers team, they were like asking for like validation from one of our players or whatever because they got accused, and they had to like, it was just super invasive and super like personal, and I was just like, I was not cool with it. I was ready to like go on the org Twitter and like call out the org and like withdraw us from the tournament and everything, but at the end of the day they wanted to still play, so we bit our tongue. But still a lot to work on, I think.
Mhm.
From like your guys' experience, do you guys find that there's anything that you would like to see more of in terms of tournaments, or less of, for like to support the greater community? I know Ash had touched on like having more diversity with like casters and like staff, but like as players, do you guys find that there's anything in that realm?
So I think that orgs or whoever, tournament organizers in general, if they're going to be making a tournament that is open for women, and they state specifically in the rules that non-binary people and trans women are welcome, that they need to stick with their rules, because there's been like a little bit, because basically if I read that in the rules, I'm like, okay, if someone is coming to play in this tournament, that means they are either non-binary, they are a trans woman, and they are identifying as a woman, and they should be able to play. Player that has not been the case. There's been like some tournament organizers that put that in their rules, but then as soon as a player, because I usually think it's a player that is bringing it up, questions someone's identity, then the tournament organizer all of a sudden backtracks 20 steps and goes along with it. And it's like I really feel like some tournament organizers need to hold their ground a little bit and stick up for those people who are trying to be called out by players, because that's just, to me, I feel like that's really toxic.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like, I present as a cisgendered straight male, like 100%. If you looked at me, talked to me, interacted with me on any level, you would be like, yeah, Aaron or Trunks is a straight male, 100%. But I'm pansexual and I've been out for a couple of years now. So how can you tell just by someone's voice or name or the way they play? It's not fair to them by any means.
Exactly.
And how can you, and that's like a big thing with the LGBT community too, and like in the greater public, we would never ask a trans individual to identify themselves, right? We take them for what they are and what they request, and it should be the same with gaming and tournaments.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyone else?
On things that we'd like to see.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool, all the women's leagues that have been popping up over the past years. I know there's been women's tournaments in Apex for, obviously for any game, but just I'm mostly familiar with Apex. But I know there's been like smaller tournaments, and it's like nice to see like just mostly bigger and bigger ones. I think it would be really cool if there was some kind of like monthly league for like POCs. Or maybe even just queer people in general. I feel like that would be really cool if someone started something like that.
That'd be cool.
Well, Aftermath is looking to start a monthly tournament of some sort, so we'll keep you in the loop.
Wink wonk.
Sounds cool.
Wink wonk.
Wink wonk.
We'll get light Twitter fingers to announce it
Don't worry about it.
when we get it together.
Jake LightLyrs.
Gotcha.
I see, like from what I've like heard from you guys so far, that gaming I think has been a big outlet for you guys to kind of find yourselves, with that, like outside of gaming, have you guys been like ever exposed to like, I guess, LGBTQ culture outside of that? Like, do you guys know anything about like ballroom, drag, Vogue, and the really like underground groups?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen lots of it. I haven't actually gone to anything like that in person yet. I've also heard about it. My grandma's lesbian. After she broke up with my grandpa,
Dang.
she's been married for 20 years now. So like I hear, some stuff they did, and stuff they So it's I've heard a lot about it. I just haven't actually been to anything yet. I don't really go out, so I think that's why it's not, because it looks really fun and I hear about it all the time, but just not yet.
I would definitely love to okay, so I just turned 18. Like I still have my whole life to explore and everything, because again, like I said, I'm not in a place that's very welcoming and accepting around me. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been able to go to pride parades or drag shows or whatever. But that is definitely on my bucket list to do eventually. I'll get there one day.
Yeah.
I guess for me,
I just gotta leave my house first.
It's a mood and a half. Me here in Los Angeles, we have pride parades and everything like that. It's a very different city, I can say that for sure, because we have been to a couple ballroom events, but one interesting one was a Pride indie wrestling event. That was a very new one to me. It was can't say it was wild. We have Pride skateboarding, Pride snow, a lot of other stuff that that's here in the city.
Nice. I know that LA has a big ballroom scene.
Oh yeah,
it's huge.
Insane. It's wild. I've been to one and I had to leave. I'm like, I'm getting a little overwhelmed here. It's a little loud. Jeez.
Yeah, I would say, correct me if this is inappropriate, but I would say on the spectrum of being LGBTQ, they're sixes for sure. They're at the end of the spectrum, and I think only those in the community will get what that means.
Sorry. Yep. Gosh, I'm still dying too. This is light. Got her sickness on me. Ew.
What?
Disgusting.
It's just passing it through the Twitter.
Pennsylvania
True.
people. Gosh dang it.
And like, I think being what Ballroom calls like a baby gay, because I just came out recently, right? So I think when I was like really exposed to like those events and like those individuals and groups, it made me feel like really safe. And having like, after like being a part of like a group like that, coming into gaming and stuff, I really like, it drove me to really want to find like-minded people, or like people just as supportive as those that I've experienced in that community in gaming. And are there like, in Apex or any of the other games that you played, are there like groups, would you say that's a pretty like solid group of, you know, I guess like-minded individuals? Yeah, because like I'm still entering like the Apex community, and I know there's in Game Changers, I don't feel like the LGBT community is as big as Apex, because from what I've experienced from Apex, like it seems like there's a lot of like individuals that identify or like are really supportive of it. And it, like, I guess, do you guys have, would you say like you're surrounded right now by people that are similar in a sense?
I'd say honestly, yeah. Like especially casters and players. I mean, 100%. It's been really good so far.
I'd say everyone is accepting that you know, I surround myself with. There might not be like other queers at the highest level of play, like ALGS, but I mean, a lot of them are very accepting. You know, they're, even if they're not queer themselves, they're very supportive of me and what I do.
And like in terms of, I guess, say someone's listening to this podcast right now and they're like wanting to get into gaming, even though I think a lot of people start at a young age when they want to get into gaming. It seems like Apex is like a pretty safe bet into getting into the community and meeting people and like being, you know, in that safe space. Do you guys like agree to that?
Yeah, I think definitely. Apex was my first FPS game, so I'm not sure like having anything else be your first FPS, how like the experience. But I think definitely Apex. There definitely is the toxic side. You're gonna get that with any, like, you know, gaming or game fandom in general. But I think definitely Apex. There's a lot more accepting communities and like parties around it. And yeah, I'm very grateful Apex was my first FPS game, because it was definitely, I've had my, like, I bounced over to Valorant and like Overwatch. Yeah, I'm good on that one, thanks. I'll stay over here.
Yeah. Because I think the reason I asked this is because like going back to like Ballroom and Vogue is that having like, you know, that space where people know, like, you know, no matter where you start, no matter what you do, if you don't have access to be able to go out, if you want to be in a community of people where you can probably find, you know, other queers or people that are like you in like a space that's pretty easily accessible, would you guys say that, like, you know, you can definitely do that in Apex for sure? Like, it'd probably be pretty easy to get in.
Yeah, I think so. 100%.
I think if you look in the right place, yeah. I think if you were actively trying to find that, definitely. Cool. I definitely think so.
Yeah, because I know, if I don't know if you guys can like attest or comment on it, but if you've ever felt like really isolated, being around people that are like yourselves is 100% like just super comforting. Cool. You guys should play Apex.
Yeah.
Play
It's not that
Apex.
we're awkward, it's that some of us are tired. We're trying.
Yeah, it is super late right now.
It's 8 o'clock for me. I cannot believe.
Oh yeah, I think me and you are both on the West Coast, 'cause I'm in
It's
Vancouver,
11.
just above you.
California, baby, home to tsunamis and wildfires.
East Coast, baby. We
So, like,
don't have anything.
With that, I'll kind of like leave the floor open right now, just for like a quick couple seconds. Was there anything that you guys wanted to comment on that we've discussed so far?
Not like about the commenting, but definitely for anyone who's listening, especially like if you're younger and you're like questioning, or you have questions about yourself, or you're trying to figure out yourself, that you're valid, and everyone, and like we love you, and people around you love you, and you are so amazing. And I just like wish that was something I wish I could have heard when I was younger. And so I just want other like teens and even adults out there to know that finding yourself takes time, and it's okay, and just to love yourself. And yeah, I really want to make that clear. To please love yourself.
So wholesome.
That's really sweet. Yeah.
I guess to any casters out there, especially like say you're black, even mixed like myself, or even LGBT, again, like don't be afraid to dive into it, right? It may look intimidating and it may look threatening, and yeah, piece of advice, do not read Twitch chat while you're casting. That's number one. If you're getting into this, it's not kind. I would not recommend it. Yeah, honestly, it's fun. Dip your toes in. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, I mean, hey, you can always move on to, say, another game, even like outside of Apex, right? But in Apex, I mean, there's a lot of people that will guide you along your journey, right? I mean, me especially, if you need any help, let me know. And like other people like Drago Stuff, even CB, amazing casters as well, have done a lot of good things in the community. So, yeah, it's much what I gotta say.
I know we kind of like discussed about kind of the things that we'd like to see implemented, but is there anything that you guys are like looking forward to? Because we could talk about a lot of like the negatives and stuff that we like to see changed, but is there anything that's coming up that you guys are like really looking forward to?
I've noticed, I feel like recently there's been a lot of talk about the LGBT recently. This month, like I feel like this Pride Month, there's been a lot of talk about it, and I feel like that's a good thing, because I feel like that means more people are realizing they're queer, and people are gonna eventually, I think, be more accepting. I feel like it's important to be proud and loud now as opposed to prior months, because I think a lot's going on, and I think if everyone's loud and proud, a lot of people will be more accepting of it. It's just like down the road as well, not just in general.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's been a lot of homophobia this month, and I feel like it's important to just be who you are, just loud and proud about it.
Like,
oh well, it's not like, okay, it's not anything I'm looking forward to or like know that's coming. I just hope more like FPS games, and even just regular games, but since we are more familiar with FPS, start having more like LGBT characters, because again, like Fuse and Bloodhound, come on, we need more we need more couples, because I think too, like young kids, they just, their parents will put a video game in front of them and they'll learn about it, and they'll see that it's normal, opposed to just like,
I think it's really cool how much companies are starting to do that now too. As like 10 years ago, like I feel like you would never really see much of that.
Non-existent.
We would never have Catalyst.
Yeah, exactly. Like now it's like I feel like almost every game kind of has some kind of queer rep now in it.
Yeah. No, like I said, I was pretty confused about everything. Elementary school, middle school, high school. So if I would have had like more exposure through like games or anything that I was doing, that representation is so important.
Yeah,
because
I never had anything
yeah.
like that either. Yeah.
No, exactly.
yeah, and I know even like on the mainstream side of things, I haven't seen The Little Mermaid yet, but I heard it was really good.
No, I haven't seen it.
I want to go see it.
I want to see Barbie and then Oppenheimer.
Oh my god, same.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see that on the same day.
I can't afford that. I really can't. I'll be honest with you. That's it. For a college student, that is very expensive. That is a meal right there.
Yeah, I also like. I don't want to go on a tangent about this, but have you guys seen the new Spider-Man?
No, I didn't see
Oh
it
my
yet. I didn't
God.
see it yet. Don't spoil that.
Okay, I'm not
I
saying
need to
That
see
was
anything.
so
that.
good.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Listen, everything that goes bad in my life, I just call it a canon event at this point.
Insane.
Well,
Bro, Hambino's gonna be so confused.
I know. I've seen a lot of memes, but
Oh, okay.
Bro, the way Miguel is built has me a little jealous. I'll admit, I wish I was built like that.
Dude, the way Miguel's
Same.
built got me feeling something.
Hey, yo. Hold on, what's this?
Hey, yo.
Tone it down. Calm it down.
Okay, but blonde Peter Parker, that was good. From the first movie. If you haven't seen the first movie at this point, I don't know what to tell you,
that's
but
it.
blonde Peter
Why, though?
Parker, you could get
Gunslinger
it.
Spider-Man had me feeling a certain kind of way. I'll admit. That was fire. Design-wise, was really cool.
True.
Cool. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for like taking the time out of your day, spending the last bit, basically an hour with me and just kind of talking about the community, especially like with Apex and all the tournaments and stuff going on. Just want to give big shout out once again to Ash, Light, Hambino, Renee for coming down. Would you guys plug your socials? Where can people find you guys out? What are you guys doing? Where can they watch you?
Ashurvok. I post on the daily there almost. If you want like the drama, go follow LightLyrs.
Alright, what's the Twitter, Light? Plug that.
Everything's at LightLyrs. I'll keep you up to date with all the Apex shenanigans and fun tournaments and stuff. So yeah.
And for those of you who are just listening, how do you guys spell your names?
Why did I think about it? LIGHT LYRS. Make sure you put the L there. Everyone forgets it.
Alright.
So, Hambino, Hambino, and then my Twitter is Hambino with a 1 instead of an I.
Renee?
Renee, and then Renee Blasty, basically race name. So ReneHopeblasy. That's a long one. Don't make me ever do that again.
Ash, you want to spell out your Twitter for me?
Of course. Alpha, Sierra, Hotel, Uniform, Romeo,
Okay.
Victor, Oscar Kilo, or ASHURVOK, Ashurvok. Mind you, I was in Sea
Right.
Scouts for a while. I'm still used to like code signs and everything and like Morse code, which that is a skill of mine. I can do that. It's very fun.
Oh shit.
Indeed.
Very cool. Great. And make sure you follow Aftermath. You can check us out at aftermathesports.com, twitter.com/AME Socials, Instagram also at AME Socials. We also got a TikTok at Aftermath Esports, and look us up on your favorite podcast network, Spotify, Apple, etc., at Aftermath Podcast. Cool. Any closing remarks?
I'm gonna go take some NyQuil and pass out.
I'm gonna go watch WWE and yeah, very fun.
This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for having
Nice
me.
meeting
Y'all.
you.